Let me ask you something. And I want you to actually stop for a second and think about this. Not just read past it. Really think. What would you do if you were having a completely normal day? Nothing special. Nothing out of the ordinary. You decided to go check out a store. A merchandise store for something you have loved for years. You walk in. You look around. The place is exactly what you hoped it would be. You start browsing. You pick up a few things. You are having a good time. And then you notice something in the corner of the store. A roulette wheel. A little sign next to it that says spin to win. So you think, why not? It is free. It takes 5 seconds. Could be fun. You spin it. The wheel goes around and around and around. And it stops. On an employee ID card. For a company called Daydream Incorporated. You think it is just part of the store theme. A fun little game. So you fill out the card properly. You write your real name. The assignment comes back. Field Exploration Team. You laugh. You pocket the card. You keep shopping. And then 30 seconds later a wave of dizziness hits you so hard your vision goes completely white. The floor disappears under your feet. Colors bleed into each other like wet paint. And when everything stops spinning and the world comes back into focus, you are not in the store anymore. You are sitting in an auditorium. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Strangers in suits sitting all around you. And a man at the front of the room is standing at a microphone. Smiling. Like this is perfectly normal. And he says, "You are the chosen successful candidates. Welcome to Daydream Incorporated." And that is where our story begins today. This has got dropped into a ghost story still gotta work. A manhwa sitting at a 9.6 rating with over 16,000 bookmarks. And it only just started. We are going through the entire first arc today. Every chapter from 0. All the way through chapter 10. Every reveal. Every moment. Every scene that made the comments section absolutely lose its mind. Get comfortable. Because this one is genuinely something special. Before we get into the actual story, I need to take a few minutes to explain the world this takes place in. Because if you do not understand the world going in, you are going to miss half of what makes this manhwa so brilliant. Imagine the internet. Now imagine that somewhere on the internet there is a wiki. Not a small hobby project. Not something 3 people contribute to. A massive, sprawling, incredibly detailed wiki built and maintained by millions of users over many years. Every article carefully written. Every entry cross-referenced. Every case file documented with obsessive attention to detail. But here is the thing that makes this wiki different from any other wiki you have ever used. Every single article on it is a ghost story. Urban legends. Haunted locations. Cursed objects and phenomena. Things that happen to people that cannot be explained by normal logic. Places where people go in and do not come out the same way they went in. Cases of what the wiki calls darkness. The wiki is called the Records of Dark Exploration. If you know what SCP Foundation is, you already understand the basic concept. If you do not, imagine a wiki where every article is written like a real case file. Detailed. Sourced. Cross-referenced. Written by contributors who take the documentation of ghost stories extremely seriously. That is the Records of Dark Exploration. Now here is where it gets interesting. Operating behind this entire wiki. Funding it. Monitoring it. Using its data. is a company called Daydream Incorporated. On the surface, Daydream Incorporated looks like a completely normal and extremely successful pharmaceutical company. Cure for hair loss? They developed it. Various medical breakthroughs? All them. The kind of company that gets featured in business magazines and held up as a model of corporate success. But the outside is not the whole picture. Because Daydream Incorporated does something that no real pharmaceutical company does. They send employees directly into ghost story zones. Active darkness. Real haunted phenomena that are currently happening to real people. Their employees enter these zones. They investigate. They figure out the internal logic and rules of whatever ghost story they have entered. And then they survive it. Or they do not. The team responsible for this fieldwork is called the Field Exploration Team. But within the company, in the quiet conversations, it has another name. The Suicide Squad. That is the world. That is the company. And that is the job our main character accidentally applied for by spinning a roulette wheel at a merchandise store. Chapter 0. The Prologue. Before any of the action starts, I want you to understand exactly who our main character is. He is not a trained fighter. He does not come from a powerful family. He was not selected by destiny. He is a fan. A genuine, deeply committed, slightly obsessive fan of the records of Dark Exploration Wiki. He has been reading it for years. Every case file. Every documented instance of darkness. Every urban legend carefully researched and written up with proper sources. He has memorized entries. He has favorite cases. He has strong opinions about which documented phenomena are the most dangerous and exactly why. He knows this wiki the way some people know sports statistics or movie trivia. It lives in his head. Which means the world he is about to accidentally enter he already knows better than almost anyone who will end up in that auditorium with him. So, Chapter 0. He finds a merchandise store themed around the records wiki. And he goes absolutely feral. Because of course he does. This is the thing he loves. Dark atmospheric aesthetic. Shelves full of collectibles and artwork and limited edition items based on famous cases from the wiki. Plushies of documented creatures. Artwork of iconic locations. Merchandise from his favorite case entries. He fills a basket without hesitating. He is not being careful about his budget. He is not thinking practically. He is a fan in his ideal store and he is buying things. He is going through each shelf methodically. Reading every label. Recognizing every reference. Having the kind of experience that only happens when a thing you love has been made into a physical space that you can walk around in. And then he spots the roulette wheel in the corner. Promotional game. Spin to win. Free for customers. He walks over. He spins it. He is not expecting anything in particular. The wheel stops on an employee ID card for Daydream Incorporated. He thinks it is a collectible. Very on brand for the store. So he plays along properly. He fills the card out correctly. Puts his real name on it. Goes through the character creation section carefully because he is the kind of person who does things properly even when they do not matter. Department assignment comes back as Field Exploration Team. He does not think twice about it. He pockets the card and goes back to shopping. He is standing at the register when it happens. Dizziness hits him so suddenly and so completely that he grabs the counter just to stay upright. Colors in the room start bleeding into each other. The sound becomes a roaring static. His feet feel like they are not touching the ground anymore. And then, Total darkness. And then, fluorescent lights overhead. He is sitting in an auditorium. Rows of seats. A stage at the front. Strangers all around him wearing suits and carrying the same expression he probably has on his face right now. A man steps up to a microphone. You are the chosen successful candidates. Welcome to Daydream Incorporated. And our main character sits in his seat. In a world he has been reading case files about for years. Wearing an employee ID he got for free at a merchandise store. Assigned to the most dangerous team in the most dangerous company in this world. Now here is the first thing you need to understand about our main character as a protagonist. He is not typical. He did not train his entire life for this moment. He does not have a secret power waiting to be unlocked. He was not chosen by anyone. He is a regular person who accidentally got transported into the universe he reads about as a hobby. But here is what that actually means in practical terms. He knows this world. The way someone who spent years reading every single case file on the records wiki knows it. And the wiki documents the rules of every ghost story phenomenon it has ever catalogued. Rules are the most important thing you can have in a ghost story. His pop socket from the merch store activates on his phone. A status window appears. A real interface that projects his own memories of wiki entries directly in front of him. His lore knowledge does not just exist inside his head anymore. It is organized. Instantly accessible. Like a cheat code built entirely out of things he learned because he genuinely loved this world. His department assignment gets processed. Field Exploration Team. The people around him who recognize the name go pale immediately. And before anyone has time to ask questions, probation begins. No warning. No preparation. He is on a train. The seats are normal. The lighting is normal. The other passengers around him look almost normal. He is trying to breathe and think at the same time. Taking in every detail. Cross-referencing against everything he knows. Running calculations about what kind of phenomenon this could be and what the rules might be. And then the intercom crackles to life. Passengers whose final destination is Sorrow Station, please disembark according to the announcements. Sorrow Station. He knows that name. He has read that case file multiple times. Because Sorrow Station is one of the most detailed and well-documented entries in the entire Records of Dark Exploration wiki. It is a ghost story about a train line. A train that exists somewhere between the real world and somewhere else entirely. A train where not all of the passengers are people. Some of them are remnants. Echoes. The lingering impressions of people who once rode this line and missed their exit. And now they ride it forever. He looks at the passengers around him with completely different eyes. The shapes that sit slightly wrong. The stillness that does not breathe the way living bodies breathe. The ones that have been on this train far too long. His status window confirms everything he already suspects. The ghost train runs on its own internal logic. The announcement system is not ambient noise. It is the rule structure of the phenomenon. Follow the announcements exactly. Get off at the right stop when the system tells you to. Do not deviate under any circumstances. If you miss your exit, you become part of the train. That is the documented rule. That is how Sorrow Station works. He knows it. The new recruits around him absolutely do not. And the gap between knowing and not knowing is about to become the most important gap in the room. Because someone near the front panics. They bolt toward the front car. The intercom responds immediately. The doors are closing. A shout from the direction they ran toward. Then a scream. And in the darkness visible through the connecting door window, something moves. Something that belongs to the train itself. Chapter 2. This is where the manhwa stops being set up and becomes something else entirely. Something that genuinely unsettles you in a way that takes a moment to identify. Because it is not jump scare horror. It is not gore or violence or sudden shock. It is the very calm and very thorough explanation of a situation that is actually terrible. Daydream Incorporated manages something called the darkness. The darkness is their internal term for active ghost story phenomena. Real. Present. Currently affecting the physical world. And the probationary period for new recruits at Daydream Incorporated is conducted entirely inside these phenomena. In what the company documentation officially describes as a death survival format. He is not in a simulation. He is not in a training exercise. He is inside a live ghost story with real consequences trying not to die. And his first complete view of what Sorrow Station actually looks like beyond the train itself is a station covered entirely in eyeballs. Not a few. Hundreds. Maybe more. They cover the walls, the ceiling, the support columns, the floor beneath the platforms. All open. All oriented. All watching. Floating just slightly. Shifting in response to movement. All of them looking at the new recruits who have just entered their space. Now, here is the single most important piece of information in this moment. And it is information that only our MC has because he has read this specific case file. The eyes of Sorrow Station are passive. They observe. They catalog. They do not initiate. They will not attack you. Unless you make sudden or dramatic movements in their presence. Unless you display obvious panic or fear. Unless you violate the announcement system that governs the phenomenon. Trigger any one of those conditions. And the passive observation ends. So while the people around our MC are doing what any reasonable person surrounded by hundreds of floating eyeballs would do, which is panic, he does the exact opposite. He becomes completely still. He breathes out slowly and quietly. He becomes the calmest person in a ghost train station full of eyes. And he starts thinking about the exit. He notices a girl near him. Brown hair. The kind of eyes that look warm even when they are scared. She is terrified. Genuinely. But she is containing it. She has not run. She has not screamed. He gives her the information she needs. Fast. No wasted words. The eyes watch. They do not attack unless triggered. Follow the announcement system. Do not run. She takes it in and she nods. Two people standing completely still in a station that would make any reasonable person run. And then from the far end of the car, a laugh. Not afraid. Not confused. Genuinely amused. He looks toward the sound. White hair. Teeth that are a little too sharp when they show. Eyes that look at the panicking recruits the way a comfortable predator looks at things that are not a threat. The figure takes in the entire chaotic scene. The floating eyeballs. The screaming new recruits. And says exactly one word. Pathetic. Then goes quiet again. Whoever that person is. They are not afraid. And in a space specifically designed to terrify and eliminate new recruits. Someone who is genuinely not afraid is either extremely dangerous or knows something nobody else in this room knows. Quite possibly both. But now here is the scene that the comments section could not stop talking about. The one that changes the feeling of everything that came before it. Somewhere nearby there is another figure watching all of this unfold. A figure who seems to know more about the situation than they should. Someone asks them directly, "Do you like it here? Will you acknowledge this world?" And they say, "Yes. I am going to prove my knowledge of this world is right." And then from somewhere in the darkness around them a single word appears. Large. Cold. Absolute. Lies. That is all. Just that one word. No explanation of who said it. No clarification of what exactly is being called a lie. Just that dark heavy word hanging in the air. Someone in this story is lying. And the darkness already knows who. Chapter 3 is a different kind of chapter. After the overwhelming chaos of Chapter 2, Chapter 3 pulls the camera back. And focuses on something quieter but more interesting. How people behave when the immediate threat becomes something they have to live with rather than run from. And specifically how our MC approaches the question of who to trust. Because here is something that becomes very clear about him in this chapter. He is not just analytically smart about ghost stories. He is analytically smart about people. He understands how group dynamics work under pressure. He knows that in a survival situation the fastest way to coordinate a group response is not to convince everyone individually. It is to convince the right one or two people first. And then let social dynamics do the rest. People follow people they trust. And people trust people who already have the trust of someone they respect. So he is doing a quiet scan of the car. Who is scared but rational? Who is observant? Who is the right person to get on his side first? And then the brown-haired girl collides with him. She stumbles. She apologizes. She starts to step back. And then she hears a word he said. Ghost story. She stops. Did you just say a ghost story? And it turns out she is not unfamiliar with this world. She does not have the deep lore knowledge he has from years of wiki reading. But she watches ghost story content. Videos. Documented accounts. Online communities. And the way the world shifted around all of them reminded her of something specific. She knows something. They talk. She processes out loud while he listens. The auditorium. Transforming into the subway train. The way the shift happened. The people who disappeared during that transition. And then she stops mid-sentence. Something crossed her mind. Something she saw during the chaos of the initial shift. A single word comes out before she catches herself. Died. She realizes immediately what she said. Goes quiet. Looks away. He does not push. He just nods. And files it away carefully. Because that single word tells him something critical. The Sorrow Station phenomenon has already claimed someone. Before they could even understand what was happening. The stakes are completely real. And this girl witnessed it. She is still processing it while also trying to survive. Her name is Kim Solium. Remember that name. Outside the phenomenon entirely, a woman named Go Young-un is watching all of this from a distance. She has not entered the ghost story zone. She is observing from outside its boundary. Monitoring the recruits as they move through the scenario with the calm professional assessment of someone who has seen this many times before. And she has stopped writing notes. Because one recruit in particular has caught her full attention. The one standing completely still. The one talking quietly to a frightened girl and helping her regulate. The one who clearly knows more than any first-day recruit should know. Go Young-eun is watching him. And she is already forming conclusions that have nothing to do with standard assessment protocol. Chapter 4. Everything that has been building breaks open here. Something happened in the front car of the ghost train. We do not see it happen directly. We experience it the same way the MC does. Through the window in the connecting door. Through sounds that travel through metal and air. The front car ceiling is cracking. Not breaking like old infrastructure. Cracking the way things crack when something is happening. Inside them that should not be possible. Debris falling. A strange reddish glow. The sound of impact repeated at irregular intervals. The recruits in the back cars press toward the windows trying to see what is happening. One of them breaks first. What should we do? Looks like a fight broke out in there. Should we help? And our MC is looking at the exact same window. Hearing the exact same sounds. And arriving at a completely different conclusion from everyone around him. He already knows what happened. Someone in the front car broke the rules. They violated the structure of the announcement system. They moved against the internal logic of the Sorrow Station phenomenon. And the phenomenon responded. Because that is what documented darkness does. It has rules. And the rules are not suggestions. Break them and the ghost story enforces itself. The chaos visible through that window is not a fight. It is a ghost story protecting its own internal structure. And here is the critical part. The chaos is contained in the front car. It is not spreading. Because the phenomenon is only responding to the violation. Not attacking indiscriminately. Which means the safest place on this train right now is exactly where they already are. He looks at his small group. Kim Solium. One or two others who have moved toward him because he seems to know what he is doing. And he says, "Let us all sit down." They stare at him. The ceiling of the next car is visibly deteriorating. Something is actively going wrong 30 feet away. And he is asking them to sit. He says it again. With a voice that is completely level. Not performing calm. Actually calm. Because he is not afraid of the front car. He knows what it is. He is afraid of the recruits around him doing something that turns the contained situation into a non-contained one. And something about the total steadiness of the way he says it makes them listen. They sit. Outside the phenomenon boundary, Go Young-eun is on a call. Describing what she is watching. A first-day recruit with no formal training managing a group of panicking people inside an active ghost story using nothing but knowledge and composure. Her assessment. It is rare to find someone like you in this day and age. There is also a name that keeps surfacing in the conversation around her. Bek Sahi. Mentioned carefully. The way you mention a name when the person it belongs to is unpredictable in ways that have real consequences. The chapter ends with the announcement system reaching the critical point. 3 words over the intercom. It is too late. But our MC is already 3 steps ahead. He has the case file. He has the rules. He has a plan. Chapter 5. The payoff chapter. Everything the MC has been building across 4 chapters comes together here. Because Sorrow Station has a solution. Every documented phenomenon has a solution. Ghost stories follow rules. Rules can be understood. and understood rules can be used to find the way out. He knows the solution. He has known it since the first announcement played. The problem has never been figuring out the answer. The problem has been getting a group of frightened people to follow instructions while the situation deteriorates around them. That problem ends now. He stands up. And he raises his voice loud enough for the people who can still hear him in the car. To those still safe in the train. This is the right answer. Everyone please get off here. And here is the detail that makes this moment matter. His legs are shaking while he says it. He is not a fictional hero who has transcended fear. He is a fan who got dropped into a ghost story and has been holding himself together through knowledge and willpower. But he does it anyway. Because if he did not say something, nobody would. Kim So-leum is next to him immediately. I will support you. And he looks at her. I trust you too. And they move. The group follows. Following the rules of the phenomenon rather than fighting against them. And the phenomenon responds. The train releases them. The aftermath. Everyone is just standing somewhere that is not the ghost train. Looking at each other. Breathing. Shaking in the particular way your body shakes when sustained terror finally has somewhere to go. Someone says, "You are amazing, sir." And internally he thinks, I feel like dying seriously. Which is, honestly, valid. And then the reward arrives. Delivered automatically to every recruit who survived. A small glass bottle. Sealed with a cork. Something inside it that swirls and glows like a piece of a galaxy in miniature. A wish coupon. A medicine that grants any wish. Chapter 5 also gives us the official cast list for this manhwa. 3 names. Kim So-leum, Go Young-eun, and Baek Sa-hyun. That name again. Listed as a main character. Someone we have heard about but not fully seen yet. Someone who exists at the edges of everything that has happened so far. Chapter 5 also shows us something that happens after the survival celebration. Someone in the crowd of surviving recruits raises their voice. Not everyone gave their full effort in there. Some recruits were just coasting along riding the coattails of others. Fairness should come first. It is said loudly. Pointedly. With the kind of energy that is looking for a reaction. And it tells you something important about the world the MC has entered. Surviving a ghost story is not enough. There are going to be politics inside this company. There are going to be people who want to measure who earned what. Chapter 6 gives us 3 things and every single one of them matters. The first thing. The mask. Chapter 6 properly explains the symbol of the field exploration team. Every employee of the field exploration team wears a mask during missions. But not just any mask. There are 2 types. An ant mask. And a praying mantis mask. The type of mask you wear is determined by your year of experience. The mask is not just equipment. It is a signal. A way of identifying at a glance who you are dealing with and how much they have survived. The longer you have lasted in ghost stories, the different your mask becomes. The second thing Chapter 6 gives us is the MC's honest internal reaction. He thinks something surprisingly real for a protagonist. This is a world where a coward like him has no chance of surviving. He should find a way to escape this world altogether. He is scared. Not performing fear. Actually scared. Recognizing clearly that he is in a world that will kill him if he makes mistakes. His first instinct is to find the exit. Not to become a hero. Not to embrace the adventure. To find a way out. That honesty is part of what makes this character so compelling to follow. He does not want to be here. He just happens to be very good at surviving places he does not want to be. The third thing. The real product reveal. Back at Daydream Incorporated headquarters, the CEO takes the stage. He gives the standard pharmaceutical company presentation. Successful company. Medical breakthroughs. Cure for hair loss. Very impressive technology. And then he says, however, our main product is something else entirely. The lights dim. He holds up a small bottle. Glowing. Swirling. Identical to the wish coupon every surviving recruit is currently holding. A medicine that grants any wish. It is the wish coupon. And our MC does the math at speed. Ghost Story Survival produces wish coupons. The field exploration team enters ghost stories and survives them. Daydream Incorporated collects the output and sells it. That is the business. That is why the field exploration team is called the Suicide Squad. Because the product requires someone to go into a ghost story and come out the other side. And not everyone does. The CEO then casually opens a wish coupon of his own. Mentions that today is his personal wish coupon collection day. He collects them personally. For himself. Not to sell. And the question that follows you out of Chapter 6 is simple and enormous. What does the man who runs this company wish for? Chapters 7 and 8. These two chapters do something very deliberate. They introduce two parallel stories at the same time. The first story is about a person sitting alone in a room, looking at their phone. 3 dots on the screen suggesting someone is typing a message. Or has been for a while without sending anything. The room is quiet. The person is still. Just watching those 3 dots and saying nothing. And then the narration drops a name. Baek Sahyun. That name that has been hovering at the edges of the story since Chapter 4. Mentioned by Go Young-eun with careful weight. Listed in the Chapter 5 cast alongside Kim So-leon. Now we see him properly for the first time. Sitting alone. Phone in hand. Completely silent. And this matters because at almost the exact same time across the city, our MC is also sitting alone. Also holding his phone. Also looking at 3 dots on a message thread that has not updated. The manhwa puts these two scenes together deliberately. 2 people. Both alone. Both quiet. Both watching the same kind of silence on a screen. One of them is our protagonist. One of them is listed as a main character whose role in the story is not yet clear. And the parallel is intentional. Whatever Baek Sahyun is. Whatever his connection to this world actually turns out to be. He and the MC are already being drawn into orbit around the same story. Chapter 8. Team D proper. The field exploration team gets formally introduced as a working unit. A senior agent comes to meet the MC, blue hair. The kind of ease that comes not from performing confidence but from having survived enough dangerous situations that performance became unnecessary a long time ago. She introduces herself simply. Welcome to Team D. I look forward to working with you. He shakes her hand. Takes in the room. These people. This small experienced group. These are his co-workers now. The people he is going to enter ghost stories alongside. She shows him around. The space. The equipment. The protocols. All completely standard onboarding. Until it is not. Partway through the tour she mentions completely casually. If you work here for about a year you will become a supervisor in no time. Normal sentence. Normal delivery. And then. Of course you might die before that happens. Said with the same tone as everything else she has said. Like both pieces of information belong in the same category. Career advancement timeline. Likelihood of death. Standard new employee information. She keeps walking. And he follows. Processing the fact that he is now part of a team whose culture includes treating death as a routine career variable. This is Team D. This is the world he is now officially part of. Chapter 9. And here is where Team D shows you exactly what kind of team they are. Because Team D has a tradition. Not an official policy. Not a sanctioned Daydream Incorporated protocol. A tradition. Something they do to every new recruit before that person is considered a full member of the team. The blue-haired senior agent explains it with the same casual energy she has used for everything else. Before you are a full member of the field exploration team, you go in alone. Solo entry into an active ghost story phenomenon. No partner. No backup. No senior agent monitoring from a support position. Just you. And whatever phenomenon you have been put into. Minimum 3 days inside. His response to this information is completely understandable. You want me to do this for 3 days? And she clarifies. There is not even a guarantee it will only take 3 days. Because if you fail inside the ghost story, if you break its rules or run out of options or get caught by whatever the phenomenon does to people who do not make it through, you do not escape. You get reset. Back to the beginning. And it starts again. It is literally an endless loop of restarting until you get it right. A number of previous recruits have quit because of this initiation. Mentioned as a fact. Not with judgment. Just information. He sits with all of this. He looks at the darkness that Team D is about to push him into. He thinks about Sorrow Station. The Eyeball Station. The escape. He survived that without training. Without preparation. Without anyone briefing him. Using only what he had accumulated over years of reading case files because he loved the lore. Can he do that alone? Without Kim Solium next to him. Without the social anchor of other people responding around him. Just him and his status window and whatever ghost story they put him in. Chapter 10. 1 hour after the conversation. The narration states it simply. The new recruit of Team D is alone in a ghost story. He is inside an active phenomenon. And Team D is watching from outside the boundary. Because that is the tradition too. They put him in. And they watch. The blue-haired senior agent stands at the edge of the phenomenon. Looking into it. Her expression is completely unreadable. She has watched other recruits go through this before. She knows how the numbers break down. But this one who stood completely still in a station full of eyeballs on his first day. This one who got a group of panicking strangers out of a ghost train using nothing but knowledge. This one who earned a wish coupon before most recruits even understand what they are. She watches him disappear into the darkness. He is in the darkness now. Alone. Armed only with the lore he built for himself because he loved this world before he ever ended up inside it. And the question the first arc leaves us with is not whether he survives. We believe he will. The question is what he becomes on the other side of it. And that is the first arc, chapters 0 through 10. A guy who was just a fan. Reading ghost story case files as a hobby because he genuinely loved the lore. He walks into a store. He spins a wheel. He gets transported into the universe he has been reading about. On his first day he survives an active ghost train using nothing but hobby knowledge. He earns a wish coupon which turns out to be the most valuable product produced by the company he now works for. He discovers that a dark mysterious figure said the word lies about someone in this situation. And nobody knows who or what that means yet. He learns that a man named Baek Sahin is listed as a main character. Someone sitting alone in a quiet room watching 3 dots on a phone screen. Mirroring our MC in a way that feels deliberate and ominous. He joins Team D, whose senior members discuss his potential death with the same energy they use for break room directions. And then they push him alone into a ghost story as a welcome tradition. That is 10 chapters. That is the foundation. Everything in the first arc is set up. Deliberate, carefully constructed setup. The mask hierarchy. The wish coupon economy. The mystery of who said lies and why. The identity of Baek Sahin. What Go Young-un is actually doing. What the CEO is collecting wishes for. All of it is building toward answers that start arriving in chapter 11. Chapters 11 through 20 are where the building pays off. The ghost stories get harder. The characters get more complicated. The MC starts to understand the full scope of what he is capable of. And the word lies starts making a lot more sense. In a way that will completely reframe everything you just watched happen. This manhwa is at chapter 21 right now and still ongoing. Still rated 9.6. If you are not subscribed, the bell is right there. Video 2 covers chapters 11 through 20. And I promise you, the eyeball station is nowhere near the strangest thing this story has to offer. We will see you in the next one.